Welcome back to Tiny Games, and I'm here with another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video. And I've been away from my computer for over 11 days. That's right, I was on vacation. That's right, I had no access to my account. So to put it bluntly, I'm behind. I'm behind on what's happening precisely with mods. I'm behind on my monthly gathering of Anakin shards. I'm behind on everything. So you will see a more detailed mod video guide from me in the next several days. This is more going to be my first impressions of what is happening. It's perhaps a little out of date. You may watch this and say, what? That's not all that interesting. But hopefully it will be. Alright, so let's start with what mods were thought to be and what they are. And so I think for most people, when mods were spoiled, the hope was going to be something like it would be small incremental changes that would let you fine-tune characters, right? That's what I thought it was going to be. So for instance, let's say you had Rey, and you had the opportunity to give her a smidge more health, a smidge more speed, a smidge more attack. So in other words, you could, fine-tune your Rey. Instead, it seems like you get to completely reshape your character. You get to put a ton more of whatever it is you want on it. And of course, at the same time as that, these high-level mods cost a lot and are hard to get, and therefore people are somewhat worried that they are more in the pay-to-win environment and sort of adding a secondary level of pay-to-winness to the game. That being that you already need to get a ton of resources to get the gear you need, and then on top of that, mods, from what a lot of people have said, are even more important than gear. So they shape your character so much that you must have the best mods if you want to be able to compete. Okay, so that's sort of one half of the situation that's happening. The other half is what a lot of people are calling Precrafting 2.0. If you don't remember what Precrafting is, it's the one decision that Capital Games has made that really sticks in my craw, and that's this notion that there was a time where people were told, hey, gear is going to be way more expensive in 2 days from now, so if you just make tons of gear today, you can sort of get by that issue. Now, that's what happened, and while I'm annoyed by it, I don't hold as much ill will against CG as I could, because I feel like it was done sort of through good intentions, right? Like, hey, we're going to be sort of transparent here and give you guys some information, and oh, wow, we didn't really think about what that could mean, that some very clever players would say, well, I'm going to take this information and use it to my advantage and get all this gear that then is well above the curve and lets them, continually snowballing their advantage further and further. Now, with mods, we have the situation again. And what do I mean by this? What I mean is, when mods came out for the first, day, 2 days, maybe 3 days, when you did a mod battle, you got a mod, period. Maybe it wasn't the one you wanted, and people were upset about that there was a lot of variance, but you could still grind a ton of mods in a short amount of time. Capital Games has decided to change that and said, okay, here's what we're going to do instead. The mod rate is substantially lower, and we're going to offset that by giving you more money for selling your mods. The problem is that doesn't fix the problem. If mod gear is super expensive and you cannot buy it with credits, giving people credits for their mods but giving them less mods doesn't actually fix the problem, right? The answer to saying there's too much variance in the mods is not to say, I know, I got the solution. Less mods. You get less mods, ergo upping the variance because you have less control, or you have less attempts to get the mods. This seems to have created basically just a universal outcry in the game. I know at least 50 people who've quit the game over this. Probably a lot more on the way as well. And these aren't, free-to-play people who aren't really invested. These are people that have spent the last 5 months, 6 months really grinding hard in this game and saying, this is it. This is the final straw. I can't take it anymore. I'm out. And for those people, I feel bad because I really think, I just can't imagine Capital Games is just going to be like, that's cool, it happened again, Precrafting 2.0, whatevs. I just don't think that's going to happen. I think they're going to step in and fix this. I'm hopeful they're going to fix this, because I'm not sure how many more of these we could take. What's baffling about it is that this was a deliberately planned situation, right? Like, here are the mods, people who had a lot of money and crystals to be able to just do a whole bunch of refreshes on Cantina Energy, got all their mods. Some people are completely modded out. And then once that happened, they're like, okay, now we're going to make them, way less often to drop. So it really screws over people who, A, didn't do a lot of refreshes, B, couldn't afford a lot of refreshes, and you know who it really screws over? This guy, right? Exactly like Precrafting 1.0. The announcement was made that this was coming in the game. I didn't have access to my computer for a 2-day stretch with Precrafting. This one was an 11-day stretch, but the mod thing was only a couple days. And again, missed my opportunity. So I'm again left in the cold, holding the bag, whatever metaphor you want to use, wondering how many times are we going to have this happen, right? Hopefully, this will be fixed. Because if it's not, a lot more people are going to leave. For many people, this is like an indication that Capital Games is sort of losing control of the game and doesn't really understand what the players want, right? And in their estimation, mods is this really cool new feature that allows you to customize your characters, right? For the player's perspective, seems to be this is an attempt to really grab a lot of money from people who need to be modded up quick because these mods are so powerful, they sort of break the game. So I see Capital Games' perspective. It's a really cool notion. Like, you get to customize your characters, you can make small tweaks. I think the problem with the player base is a couple things, right? It's that it's not small tweaks. It's giant, monumental shifts to these characters on the one end. On the other hand, they're strapping Cantina Energy, which is already tight to begin with. So now you have to make a choice. Am I going to go for the characters I need? Am I going to go for the mods I need? This becomes really taxing for that free-to-play player. And then now with this Precrafting 2.0 situation where a bunch of people got all modded out, and now it's it's a lot harder to get modded out. Sorry about that. So hopefully there will be an answer. What's interesting to me is that this was the answer, right? It's not like Capital Games put modding out, ducked and covered, and went, I don't care what happens, it's just a money grab, right? That's not at all what happened. They put it out, people complained, and they said, okay, we've heard your complaints. We are going to make sweeping changes. It's just that one of the sweeping changes was terrible, right? It was saying, now no one gets mods. Like, that was not a good decision. And I don't want to say confident, but I will say I am very hopeful that that particular change will be addressed, fixed, and the mods will go back to dropping regularly. I just don't see how that is a viable change. So this is my first impressions on this is a video of what is happening in the mod scene, less than a tutorial on how to use mods. I mean, if you look carefully at my situation, I only have the first 3 mod battles unlocked or levels, and then mod challenges. I haven't even done Jawas or all characters. I just did the first 2 tiers of Jedi. So I'm still really getting my head around what exactly mods are, what the best mods are going to be, and really doing some research here. So I'm in research mode, and I'll be back in the next couple days, probably by about Tuesday, with a really good mod video. And hopefully by Tuesday there'll be some sweeping changes as well to report on. So hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time on Tiny Grimes Games.